Good evening, everyone, and welcome to AMP Webtalk. My name is Shehzad, and I represent Association of Muslim Professionals from Mumbai, India. With me, I have the speaker of the day, Mr. Ibrahim Mogal as well. So today, we are going to discuss about how to protect our digital identity. But before we move ahead with the session, I would like to briefly introduce you all to Association of Muslim Professionals. I would not take much of your time, so kindly stay with me. Thank you. AMP stands for Association of Muslim Professionals. We are registered in India, USA, UK, and Australia as a non-profit organization and have completed 12 years serving our community in the field of education, employment, and empowerment. We have a vision to positively impact lives of 10 million people by 2030. AMP's mission is to empower the underprivileged for the greater benefit of the society in general and nation as a whole. AMP's vision is to be a model community which is advanced in education, socially progressive, culturally vibrant, politically influential, and economically dynamic. What AMP has achieved in the last 12 years is right in front of you. I request you all to just have a glance at it so you can understand what we have done in the past 12 years. We basically work under 5 major domains as SDPs, School Development Program, EAC, which is Employment Assistance Cell, Scholarship, and Self-Employment. AMP has its resource center where we are connected with counselors who counsel students. And we have our award and partnership as well, which is ongoing. We are currently going to hold our Teacher Excellence Award coming next month, 5th of September, which is Teachers Day. So we'll be announcing the nominations that we'll be receiving. So we request you all to please participate in all these activities. Our AMP's reach on ground presence, we are present in more than 100 chapters, which are spread across 25 states, and we have got volunteers in 16 countries. We have got 6,000 plus active members who are connected to AMP on ground. Our online presence, we have 125,000 plus members and professionals who are connected through various social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google, WhatsApp. So if you wish to join AMP, you can just log on to www.ampindia.org/joinamp. And we would be glad to have you all on board with us. So this is all about AMP that I wanted to talk about. So without taking much of your time, I would now like to introduce our speaker of the day, Mr. Ibrahim Mogal, who is a Senior Director, Value Engagement, CTO at Technology Company, United States of America. Mr. Ibrahim Mogal is an industry expert with 2 decades of technical experience in all high positions within the industry, managing a team of more than 100 plus technical consultants to enable digital transformation for customers from 11 different industries across North America. So I now request Mr. Ibrahim Mogal to kindly take over this session and help us with his knowledge and expertise. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brother Shehzad, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening in India. So today, what I will be covering is, let me share my screen first. You can see my screen, correct?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, perfect. So I think, as you know, especially during the pandemic, everything is being done online, right? And this is what giving even the negative elements to, hack any kind of identity you have, right? So I think today what we'll do in next, 1 hour or so, try to understand, what is the digital security? What do you mean by virtual twin, right? You are physical, but when you're online, that's your virtual representation, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on phone, whether you are on your computer or laptop, whatever the device you have. And frankly speaking, I'm in the tech industry for 20 years, and I attended this session, and basically, that session was from Equality Labs, one of the nonprofit org in US, and I was just shocked because I'm in the industry. I thought I knew many things, but again, from that session, I learned a lot. And in fact, I started implemented, some of those elements. So what I did is, this was like a 6 to 8 hour workshop. So I kind of shortened it to 1 hour so that, I can give a very quick summary of, what it is, what you need to do. So let's go through the agenda. So basically, first thing is, why, right? Why you need to worry about your digital security. So we'll go through that. Then when we say what is your ecosystem of your digital presence, right? So what are the things you need to consider when you try to make sure you're digitally secured in that ecosystem? Starting with, how to secure your iPhone. And to be frank, even I did not know some of the things which I came through this session. So it was very important. Especially nowadays, when we are creating accounts, no matter whether it is a bank account, whether it is a Gmail account, whether it is any sort of account we are creating on these many websites, right? It is very, very important how you define your passphrase, not password. And I will tell you what is the difference between the two, as well as, nowadays we are on the phone, right? Especially in the pandemic, we are not able to meet your family members, your relatives, and things like that, and your friends. So we are all communicating, using social media, right? So how to make sure your communication is secure, because, you have a right to have your privacy. Also, how to secure your computer. It is also very important. One of the things which you will learn about, the VPN, why VPN is required, and you will be shocked to see what kind of data all the internet providers, your phone providers are collecting from you if you don't use VPN to secure your browsing on the internet. As well as, how to secure literally your identity. So your information is getting sold for millions of dollars. And when somebody says that, oh, this is the free offer for you so that you can go and register on this particular website, in reality, you are literally selling your own identity. So there is nothing free in this world. Everything, you have to pay for it. So be aware of that free offers. And lastly, but not the least, how to secure social media, starting with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on, right? So we'll try to go through these. And basically, my whole intent is that, make sure you all are aware of what are the issues we have and how we should secure ourselves as we move forward. So why, right? So obviously, hackers, right? So especially during these tough times, there are a lot of hacks happening, not only for individuals, but also a recent hack. I know one of the major automotive company in US got hacked, and literally they have to dump, they have to dump millions of dollars of hardware because there was a ransomware which kind of got infected through one computer, and then it spread over all the computers of that particular company. And that company is very prominent. So it's very important how you are protected against these hackers, right? Whether they are targeting you as an individual or whether they are targeting you as a part of a company. And even there are some hacks happening from the state-sponsored elements, right? So literally there are some governments, they do that. Also the tech companies, right? Like, and again, I will give some examples from the US side, right? Like when you go and even in India, right? You go to Netflix and log in and create your user ID, password, define all of your data. And all of these companies are cutting corners, right? So because of that, they may not have the most secure infrastructure. And because of that, when some hackers attack these companies, all of your username, password, everything is getting, stolen. And again, I will cover in the password section why it is important to have different passwords for different accounts. And I know it is difficult, but if you have same password for all accounts, imagine if your one account is hacked, all other accounts are gone. Selling your data, companies are selling your data. So again, if someone says this is free, which means that they are selling your data 10 times, 100 times, and for millions of dollars. And I'll show you a video which you will be, very, very shocked. How every move what you make, if you have phone with you, how it is recorded. So what is your digital ecosystem, right? When I say, you need to have secure your digital identity. So first thing is obviously, your own identity, right? So for example, you are present on the internet, right? So like you have a bank account, you have your Aadhaar card in case of, in India, and then things like that. So that identity, you need to make sure you're not sharing, unnecessarily. And wherever you are sharing, you need to make sure that it is protected. The moment your identity, like, Aadhaar card number or PAN number, or in case of US, a social security number, if those elements of your personal data get stolen, you will be, your identity from the digital point of view is very, very risky. And you may find out that somebody else is doing a lot of activities on your social ID, on your Aadhaar card, on your PAN number, and it may end up in criminal cases, right? So you have to be very, very secure about your identity. Devices, you have to make sure your devices are secured, like iPhone. If you're using iPhone or any kind of smartphone, how are you securing them, right? Securing communications, right? So talking on the social media, especially WhatsApp, especially Facebook, are you securing your communications, right? And there are so many things which we don't know. If somebody wants to, track you, and they have personal vendetta against you, they can go to social media and easily track you where you are. And there are many examples like that. And lastly, but not the least, securing the network access. So I think making sure when you are browsing the internet, right, you are, securely browsing it. And I'll explain you what it is in the next slide. So as you can see, again, it is a common case in US and India, or everywhere, I would say, right? So typically, right, when you have an internet at home, you have your internet service provider. And this is you, right? So you're trying to connect to the internet. It is an unsecured connection, even though the ISP says that, oh, it's a secure connection, which means that hackers can literally go to your, internet provider network. Even if you have set up that network in your home and it is not secured, they can literally see what you're doing. So they can easily go, they can identify the information, they can basically even go and track which websites you're browsing. And even using that, right, that data is sold to the big companies, and then they post those ads where you think about, oh, how do they know that I need this particular item, right? So that's again even a okay usage, right? But again, I'm very against that, because that is a violation of privacy. But in some cases, even governments can go and spoof your data and try to see what you're doing. And again, we all have privacy rights in today's DNA age. So you need to have a VPN, and I'll explain what VPN is. So VPN is a virtual private network. So some of you who is working in the tech industry, and nowadays we are working from home, if you want to connect to our company servers or company websites or company internal applications, you have to have VPN. The moment you have VPN, none of the hackers, none of the state-sponsored elements, no government can track your data. So it is very important that you make sure you have VPN, and I'll explain how that VPN works in future slides. Disinformation, and I don't have to tell anything, right? What is happening everywhere in US, in India, everything is like, there is no truth information. Everything is like alternate truth. There are troll armies, they just trying to publish the misinformation, so much so that you believe and feel that it's the right information. So you have to make sure, which website you're looking for the news, which website you're looking for your source of information. So you need to find that you are getting that information from the right source. And the reason is, why it is so important that right now, the right wings in every country, right, they are going extreme, and all of these elements are being, fake news are being spread a lot. And I don't need to tell, recent news about Facebook and all that stuff, you all know. So you have to be very, very careful about, where your information is coming from. And at the same time, when you're forwarding any information, you have to think twice that, am I part of that, fake news spread, right? So you need to make sure that you're not part of that. So how do you manage your risk, right? So again, you have to make sure, review your threat model all the time. For example, what do I want to protect, right? So for example, you are storing all of your files, say, on the Google Drive, right? So what kind of information you have on that Google Drive? Is it private? Is it public? Have you given access to everyone? Imagine, I know a case, I think it was last year or so, somebody put all of their information from their education certificate to the experience letter to the, all the identity of them on a Google Drive, and basically, accidentally, that particular gentleman gave public access. And unfortunately, all of his data got, used for creating a fake identity. So you have to make sure that whatever choices you make, you need to constantly, review your threat model. What do I want to protect? From whom I want to protect? How likely is it you will need to protect your assets? How bad are the consequences, right? So you have to be very careful whenever you're making any decision, in this digital world. You need to constantly recheck your threat model. And if you don't do that, it's like, I use an analogy, right? You have a physical home. What do you do? When you go out, you lock the home, you put the sensors, you put the digital locks. But in case of virtual identity, we are not doing even a single thing. It is all open. So anybody can come in, take your stuff and go away. So how you become digitally resilient, guys? So you are, again, as secure as your weakest link. For example, you have some private information, right? And then you forward it to your friends and you say, hey guys, please don't forward to anybody else because this is very confidential. And one of your friend, anyways, he forwards. So even though you secured your stuff, but you forward it to one of your weakest links. So again, when you're making these decisions on the digital information passing on, you have to make sure that you are identifying your own weakest links. And if you know that you cannot trust someone, please don't pass on the information. So this is one of the examples, right? So again, do not have someone accessing your accounts. Do not share your passwords, your user ID with your friends, your roomies. It is easily being used against you. So again, just keep it with you. Don't share with anybody, right? Similarly, if you are going for a protest, right? Nowadays, worldwide, there are many protests happening. Make sure, you don't have weak passwords, and you don't have all these facial recognition unlocking system. Imagine, if police captures you and they will take your phone and they just put your phone in front of your face, the phone gets unlocked. Or they can take your thumbprint, put it on the phone, they can unlock the phone, they can go through all of your private information. They can even go and put a malware in your phone so that whatever you do, they record and they get all that information. So you have to be very, very careful, how you are managing your digital devices as you move out of your home. So this is a video, and I will ask to make sure that the audio
Larson
is
out
there.
To investigate. Watch.
Can you hear the audio? Isn't there?
Yes, we can hear the audio.
We know that Google is tracking us. We agree to it when we set up our phones. So we wanted to figure out what exactly Google is learning about us throughout the day. So here's what we're going to do. We have two identical phones. The only difference between these two phones is this one is in airplane mode. Both of the phones lack a SIM card, and they haven't been set up to access any Wi-Fi networks. So for all intents and purposes, these phones have no connection to a data network. We're going to keep them with us throughout the day. And while I travel around DC, we're going to figure out just what Google is finding out about me.
Our first stop, Sim's convenience store, just outside our Fox bureau, for a quick coffee. From there, we took a walk to the Capitol and took a quick walk around the Senate office buildings, and then decided to hop in a car and head around town.
Hello. We're going to the Children's Hospital, please.
To run our test, we had to do more than walk the block, so we took a tour around our nation's capital. First, due north to the Children's National Medical Center Hospital, then west to St. Albans School and the National Cathedral. Our tour around town was a 14-mile journey that lasted more than an hour. The entire time, the phones had no access to the internet.
Oh my goodness.
Not a Wi-Fi connection and not any cellular data service. It almost seemed quaint to assume that Google wouldn't even be able to collect data on me.
Let's head back to the bureau, my friend. Oh, that church is beautiful.
Google's business model is simple. Collect data on its users and then use that data to sell targeted ads. It's a business model called surveillance capitalism. But does that critical data collection work even when your phones aren't connected? So we're back here at our Fox Bureau in DC, and we've got both of our phones exactly how we left with them. The only difference, really, I snapped a couple of bad selfies at the National Cathedral. But otherwise, they have stayed in my pocket for the entire day. So let's find out what they know. This is our man-in-the-middle device. It's basically a Wi-Fi network that these phones are going to connect to once we turn their Wi-Fi on. It's going to pass data through it on the way to Google. But on the way, we're actually going to get a copy of the same data that Google's going to get. We'll be able to decrypt it and then find out where we've been throughout the day. Within minutes, the numbers rolled in. The phone that wasn't on airplane mode registered more than 100 locations, 130 activities, and even 152 barometric readings. As soon as it hooked up to our Wi-Fi, it transmitted 300 kilobytes of data straight to Google. The phone even logged our exact locations, tracking us all around town, the Capitol, the hospital, the school, and the cathedral. Now, you may notice what's missing here is the exact route that we took, but it got that data too. It knows when I got out of the car. The metadata has a time log down to the very second, tracking everything when they think that you're walking, riding, and yes, even getting out of the car. Okay, so you're thinking, this isn't a big deal. I'll just put my phone in airplane mode. Yeah, we thought of that too. This is the other phone that we had with us that no SIM card also remained in airplane mode the entire time. Let's see what kind of data it captured. The phone with airplane mode activated actually logged more locations and activities than the other phone, and it also transferred hundreds of kilobytes of data to Google as soon as it was activated. The only thing that's missing from this map is our stop at the Children's Hospital, but it still knows we were there. There it is. Exiting vehicle, 100% accuracy. Through complicated user agreements and free software, Google gets users to sign away their privacy for nothing. They're even following you in the places that most people would expect total privacy: government buildings, a children's hospital, a private school, a church. Every move you make, every step you take, Google is watching you. Arson app.
So I hope you saw the video and heard the audio, right? So it is just amazing. So just having a phone, and if you saw in the video, right? So it was like just trying to, not even having the SIM card in the phone. It was just in airplane mode, recorded more data than the phone with the SIM card as well. So I think, as you can see, Google captured everything. When you step out of the car, which institute you went in, what you did. It's like it was crazy. And all of that data, you sign up for free. And this is where we are giving up all of our privacy. So it's very, very important. And I think one of the only solution in those cases is, just switch off the phone fully. The moment you switch on the phone, whether you have the SIM card or not, whether you have the Wi-Fi or not, these guys are capturing everything from your perspective. So this is very, very, shocking when I saw that, and it's very, very alarming, right? So basically, so let's go through, what can we, do with securing our phones, right? So the first thing we should do is, how to secure your phone. So we'll start with iPhone, right? So make sure, we are, defining a passcode. And then again, 6-digit passcode is always recommended. Do not put 4-digit because, literally it takes, hours to crack it. And there are devices with the government where, they can crack the 4-digit code very easily. And also the hackers have that. So make sure it is a 6-digit and try to be alphanumeric. So it's always important, right? And again, make sure you do not enable the Face ID. I know it's a very tempting feature, but it's very, very unsecure. Next, make sure, as I said, make sure you do not use Face ID for, like a lot of people do Face ID for automatic unlock, for paying the Apple Pay bill, autofill passwords on the website. Imagine, somebody gets your phone and they literally, I know it's an extreme, but they kidnap you, right? They can do everything on your phone just by putting your phone in front of your face. Especially same thing, when you are crossing the borders, when you are going through immigration. So all of these elements are there. So you have to be very careful when we are going out for a journey. Set all of these settings to disable that. Also set the timer. It is always important to set the timer. So as soon as, you set the timer between 1 to 5 minutes so that nobody can, accidentally take your phone and, go through your phone details. So make it auto lock. So that way, if you forgot to lock it, the phone will make it, auto lock himself. So have like 1 minute setting, because I love that. And again, our company has that policy. It's my company phone. Turn off location settings, right? So we just saw what happens, right? Even though without that, we were able to find, Google was able to find a lot of data, but at the same time, just turn off the location setting, because what happens, a lot of apps are collecting your location data. So again, for example, there is an app for, drawing something on your iPhone, right? Drawing an art or whatever. Why it needs a location? But these apps have hidden agenda. If your location is on, they collect all of the data where you were, what you are doing, and they send that and sell that data to other companies. So it is very, very important you only use location when it is needed. For example, if you need to use maps, yes, you have to have the location on so that you can find the route. But for others, if there is no need of location, turn it off. So you can also switch on and on location by app. So make sure you do that. Typically, I just turn off location because I don't need any location. Only when I'm driving, I try to turn it on only for that Maps app. Also, this is one of the scariest thing, and I have seen many examples. When you take a picture, right? Take a picture on your phone and you upload to Facebook, right? Hey, we are here, or we are taking picture in some park, or wherever you are, right? You are taking picture in somebody's home. And for some reason, right, you don't want anybody to know where you are. But if you take a picture from your phone and upload to social media, there is an EXIF data with that particular phone. And that EXIF data, you can see here, the picture of the tiger, it tells you the exact location where you took the picture. So there are many incidents that happened where, literally in many South Asian countries, if police wants to, attack on the protesters, and if somebody sends the picture out or uploads to social media using this EXIF data, they can easily track you within a matter of minutes. And it happened in one of our neighboring countries back in South Asia, where, unfortunately, one of the guy put a wrong tweet accidentally, and then police reached out to him, and unfortunately it went into the shootout, right? So it's very, very important, right? If you want to protect your privacy, there are apps where, they take that picture, what you have taken, and they remove the EXIF data, then you can go and upload to the social media. So again, this, I didn't know that, and it was very shocking to me. So again, whatever you post on the social media, you have to be very, very careful what you're doing and what you need to do. So go to the next one. For search, right? So again, we love to go to Google, right? Who doesn't want to? But see what happens when you go to Google, right? So any kind of browser, right? Like if you go to Chrome or you go to IE or all that. So as soon as you start doing the search, right? What you're searching, where you're browsing, all of that information is profiled against you. In the sense, right? Google will keep all of the data. Oh, you went to this restaurant website. Oh, you went to this Amazon.com website. Oh, you went to this website to buy. Okay, so all of that information, right? All of these companies, they sell for millions of dollars, right? And again, there is no concept of privacy because we given away all of that privacy because we got all of those tools for free. And you see there is hundreds of pages of, user agreement. You just sign it because it is free. And that's what you get, right? So instead of that, this is a DuckDuckGo a browser, and their mission is to make sure that make the internet search, sensitive searches or any internet search privacy free. So basically, nobody should know what you're searching, what you're navigating, where you're going. So again, this is one of the good browser you have, and nowadays I'm using this as well. And again, VPN we talked about, right? So VPN is a service that allows you to connect to the internet via encrypted tunnel. So basically all of your connection to the internet is encrypted so that no hacker, no state agency can go and, crack it and find out what is happening, right? So again, VPN is generally, protecting your online privacy and protect your sensitive data, right? Like if you're trying to pay online bills, right? Nowadays, we're all working from home or we are all at home. So you're trying to pay your bills online, you're trying to do some bank transactions. Very, very important, do it through VPN. And again, you have a lot of free VPNs that again, don't go for free. You can buy these VPN, and I recently bought one. And again, it is working fantastic for me, and all of my devices are now over VPN. So I highly recommend, do not use, especially when you go outside, right? Oh, free Wi-Fi, stay away from that free Wi-Fi. Identity thefts happen wherever somebody accesses free Wi-Fi. So even if you want to access free Wi-Fi, use your VPN. And that way, there is no way for the hackers to, hack your data. So this is a very interesting video. So let me play this.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
You want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation. And basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
at gmail.com,
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry. So there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right. Thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yes.
So as you can see, right, this is called social engineering, and these things are happening a lot. And I myself was victim of social engineering in another way a few years ago. But the long story short is people are, again, especially in this pandemic times, they have a lot of time, especially to the hackers, and they are doing things which is, we've never heard of. And this is one of the story of one of our close friends, especially, during, I think a month back or so, suddenly, at around 11 p.m. at night, in US, right, he has a, smartphone, right? And suddenly his phone is switched off and switched on, and it's operating on its own, and it is changing all the passwords of his accounts. And fortunately he called all the, the telephone company, the service provider, and then he stopped his phone, figured out it exactly happened what you saw in the video. They basically went to his service provider and they changed his SIM so that now, the SIM is now somebody else's SIM, and whatever the, you use a phone number to do your two-factor authentication. I'll tell you what it is. Now, all of that messages are going to a different SIM on a different phone. And it was just bizarre. And thank God, he was able to stop everything. So it's very important that, you make sure that, how you can protect yourself. So there is a way, and there is an article here, how to prevent mobile account hacking, what you just saw. So there is a way to do that. There is a PIN number which you use it for your SIM to be protected. Only you know that, only you set it up. And most of the times, 90% of the people don't set it up. So again, it's very important that you secure your phone and how you can take control of your, phone number and make sure nobody else can, mess around with your SIM. So again, from the Android perspective, right? So make sure you have the lock settings. So we went through the iPhone, right? So let's go through Android. So for Android, if you are using those phones, make sure you lock the screen, so that nobody can access it. Please do not use the swipe. It is very easy, and there are so many incidents. It looks cool, right? Like iPhone, oh, the face unlocking is so cool. It is not cool from the security point of view. Similarly, the swipe for the Android is not cool as well on the Samsung phone and other phones. So again, avoid that. It is easy to mimic. It is easy to, if somebody wants to see what is your password, they can easily see and they can repeat it easily. Again, make sure security lock timer is there on your Android, as well as make sure you are encrypting your disk, especially on the Android side. iPhones, they are by default encrypted. For Android, you need to make sure they're encrypted, so that even if you lose your phone, right, nobody else can hack into your phone and look in all of your data, like your personal pictures and other account details. Make sure there are settings where you scan for device security threats, and also verify app to prevent the malware, so that accidentally you're not downloading the app which could be a malware, and that could be a huge risk for you. Make sure you install the Malwarebytes for Android, so that it keeps constantly scanning if there are any malware which is installed on your phone. And again, as I said earlier, right, have the photo EXIF editor, so that way when you take a picture from your phone, it will remove all the location settings, and it is so nobody can trace and find out which location you took the picture. Again, set up the SIM lock, which is again found under the settings, mobile data and SIM pin, which is very important, so that nobody can hack your SIM. And again, app locking. Make sure you also have app locking, right, after a certain amount of time. So that way, even though the hackers get into your phone, but your app is locked after a certain period of time, they cannot get into your app, right? So make sure those settings you are enabling on your Android phone. And I think one of the good things I like about Android phone, that there is an option for Android phone to hide the caller ID. So that way nobody knows which number you're calling from, right? And this is one of the very popular feature, right? Which you can use, so that nobody can get your phone ID unnecessary, right? So when you're calling, your non-friends or non-relatives, something like that. This is one of the key things where everybody kind of scared about it, that updating your operating systems on your phone. And I think this is highly recommended. You should always go for automatic updates on your phone, because they are releasing constantly the patches, security patches for all the threats, what has been, against these phone companies and operating systems. Okay, so how to, save your go from password to passphrase, right? So again, password means, typically what we used to do in the past, right? Just some number and then some name, right? No, try to create a passphrase, literally, which is like, some logical element which you only know, right? And it should be a combination of letters, numbers, special characters, and not just 8 or 12, right? It should be big. And again, I know you'll be thinking, why I have to set this complex up? Are you willing to give your digital security to someone else or digital identity to someone else? No. And then you need to put an effort to make sure you're creating a passphrase. There is, I won't be doing a demo today because we have very short time remaining, but there are some websites. You go to this website, passbin.com, and you just put that BLAGH0. That is one of the favorite password in US. I don't know why. And you will see many accounts being hacked. And literally, there is a site called Have I Been Pawned? And you go to that site and you will find out, put your email address, and it will tell you that whether your email address was hacked or not. And it is very critical that, if it is hacked, either you change the password for that particular account or you stop using that email account. Keys to a good password, as I said, right? Long, complex, practical, fresh. You don't have any personal details, and never ever share with anybody. And again, this is the website have I been pawned? And again, you know, if you put your email there, you go and you will see if your email ID being hacked or not. And you can literally try it right now. And you know, by the time we have Q&A, you know, tell me if you have seen your things hacked, your account being hacked or pawned or not. Test your password strength. So there is another website where you can go and find out. And this is the demo where, you know, when I tested this strawberry as a password, the hackers were able to hack that within like matter of minutes. So again, don't put exact password you're trying to do, but use the same format, right? And then you go there and check how strong my password is. And it will tell you that, you know, it will take how many hours to crack your password. So you have to do this. Unfortunately, you know, in today's, you know, where everything is happening digitally, you have to make sure you are creating the right password, and make sure, you know, you create a password which will take at least, you know, 10, 15, 20, 30 years to crack for the, you know, hackers, right? So this is one of the another great site where you can go and check. Two-factor authentication. And I'm sure, you know, in India and everywhere else in US, right, this is becoming a norm now, kind of a standard, right? So make sure you have a two-factor authentication used addition to an email. So oftentimes, you know, you'll be able to enable SMS messages to your mobile phone if a strange login to your account happens. So this goes a long, long way in preventing hacked accounts. So like, you know, in fact, I have created two-factor authentication all the time because now I don't care. You know, I want to make sure that every time when I log in, it has to go to my phone, and then I take that code and then log in. So that way it is very well protected, right? And again, there are tutorials. I've given a link here, you know, what two-factor authentication is and how to set it up and all that. Now you go to the Mac, right? To your computers, right? So I've given an example of MacBook here. So make sure you have enabled multiple users in your account is always good. Just having one account, which means that, you know, it's very risky. So at least have one more account, you know, for the, on your laptop, especially on Mac. Make sure, you know, for Windows, right, to create a new account on Windows 10, you also go and similarly create a new account. So the guidance is you just don't have one administrative account which comes default with these either a PC or MacBook. Create at least one more account with the same administrative privileges. And again, encrypt disks on the Mac. Make sure your full disk encryption is available and clicked on. So that way, in case your laptop gets stolen, you know, there is no way hackers can go into your private data. Similarly, again, we always hesitate to update all the softwares. Make sure you update all the softwares all the time, which is very, very critical. Review the privacy settings, right? Again, you know, the location settings I told you. If you're using a laptop, why you have to enable your location? You're just sitting at home or in office, right? So disable the location. It is always good to not expose where your location is. Protect yourself from malware. So what is malware, right? So malware is like kind of, you know, malicious software which is used to harm the computer users, right? So it works in many different ways. And again, it can do anything, right? Starting from, you know, gathering sensitive information, disrupting your computer operations, or it can impersonate as a user to send a spam email, right? Or it can use your machine to do some bad work which you are not doing it, but the hackers are doing it, and it's very, very risky. The majority of the malware is criminal and is most often used to obtain banking information and login credentials. So you have to be very, very careful about that. So make sure you do not download anything. Again, if something comes free, which means that there is a risk, please stay away from all the free stuff. There is nothing free in this world. And again, in some cases, it is also used by government. And there are various evidences where, you know, there are a lot of things getting spied. And there are these agencies in various government in the West and in the Middle East, their job is just to do this. So you have to be very, very careful, right? So never open attachments, right? How to protect against the malware. Make sure, you know, you always open these attachments in Google Drive or scan them, or there is a website called virusroll.com. So make sure, you know, if you are receiving something which you don't know, do not download, do not upload, do not download and do not install it. So again, this Virus Total is a very great website. Using that, you can see if there is any virus or malware in that particular download. And again, this is one of the things which I kind of trying to explain, right? The way how the internet works, right? So ISP is your internet service provider, or there is internet cafe, right? So these are all the gateways, where there are many people, including hackers and agents, government agencies, they are just watching what you're doing. So again, don't use the, you go to Starbucks in US, or you go to any barista cafe in India, right? There is a free Wi-Fi's. Don't use it unless you have VPN installed on your machine. So your internet traffic is monitored for keywords, right? Again, they're trying to find out what you're doing. Filtering is implemented directly at the ISP level. And again, it may not happen in US, but in certain Asian countries, right? They block certain sites so that, you cannot see them and you don't even realize that. And again, this is where, they're trying to control what you should see, what you should not see. And again, in today's democratic world, you have full privacy and full freedom. Wherever you want to go, you can go, you should go. And again, going back to the same thing, right? If you have VPN, nobody can watch you, nobody can hack you, and that is the best way to do it. So which are the VPN softwares, right? So obviously there are few available in the market, Viper VPN, TunnelBear, and others, right? Some of them cost like, $1 or $2 per month. And again, again, as Desis, right? As we come from, South Asian countries, we don't want to spend money on these kind of things. But again, I give the analogy, right? When you go away from your home for a vacation or you lock your home and you spend time to make sure your home is secure, and your digital identity is much more valuable than your physical home. Because imagine somebody takes your social security number, somebody takes your Aadhaar card number, somebody takes your PAN number, what will you do in that case? So again, you have to spend money to make sure you are digitally secure. There is another one called Tor as well. And again, I will not go through the details, I just explained it. So secure your browser, right? So again, there are certain browsers studied by that group, right? Use Firefox as much as possible. Brave is there. And again, Firefox is free. So there is again certain element of that, that freeness is there. Tor, there is another one. DuckDuckGo, what we saw. So DuckDuckGo is like a non-profit organization which is trying to, make sure, the privacy element is taken care of. And again, secure your browser, right? So make sure you're not saving your history, searches, cookies, and temporary files, right? Make sure they are not saved. So that way, that data is not being passed on to, other companies, and then they don't know, what kind of, websites you're visiting, what kind of searches you're doing, and so on. So Privacy Badger, right? How to secure that? So Privacy Badger is a browser add-on that stops advertisers and other third-party hackers, trackers from secretly tracking where you go and what pages you look on the web. Again, what these guys are trying to do is that, where you're going, what are your interests, and according to that, they're selling the information to these companies where, they are trying to put the relevant advertisements on your web. So again, these are some of the browser add-ins you can get, and that way, you can protect your privacy. That way, nobody knows, what you are searching, what you are visiting. Again, DuckDuckGo, I showed you that. Secure your communication. This is very, very important. And I was also shocked when I came to know about this. The recommendation is do not use WhatsApp. Use Signal. So the Signal is one of the recommended chat app, right? Why WhatsApp? Even though WhatsApp says the message is secured, is encrypted. Again, you have no idea when you're talking in a group in a WhatsApp, if one of your guys in that group do not have the latest WhatsApp, which means that your entire communication, even though it says secured on your phone, it is not secured on the person's phone, which is have less minor version of WhatsApp than you. And at the same time, governments can ask WhatsApp to provide all of the data, and WhatsApp agreed. Again, when we sign up for the user license agreement, it is free, right? There is nothing free. You have given the right that in case any government asks for all the WhatsApp data, all of that data will be given back to the government. And the reason is they store all of that data on their servers. In case of Signal, they don't do that. So that's why right now Signal is the most trusted, I would say, the secure communication example. Signal's privacy policy is short and concise, like WhatsApp. Unlike WhatsApp, Signal doesn't store any message metadata. The closest piece of information to metadata that the Signal server stores is the last time each user connected to the server. That's it. But in case of WhatsApp, everything is stored. Everything is stored. And even if you delete it, it is still there on the WhatsApp servers. And if any government agency asks for that data, they have obliged to give the data back to the government. That's what I covered, so I will not go through these. Phishing. Again, phishing is one of the most critical thing which we need to understand. What is phishing, right? Again, literally the term is you fish, right? You go in a lake or river and try to fish, right? That's phishing. And we replaced F with a P. So phishing is basically somebody sends some mismatch URL, kind of trying to act as, hey, I'm from this bank or I'm from this thing, but they are not. And they ask you to click a link, or the message is coming from your friend but doesn't sound like your friend. The message asks your personal information, right? Literally, they will ask you, oh, can you type your password because we want to change your password because you locked your account. No bank, no company will ask you to change your password over email. And something you didn't initiate, right? Which means it is not good. And you also ask to send money to cover expenses, like, hey, your friend is stuck in this country. Can you please send, these $100,000, $200,000? His passport is lost. These are all the standard, phishing emails, right? And again, there is a video which I will not show it, but that video will explain you in this link, what phishing elements are and how dangerous they are. And again, you can see some of the examples of phishing, right? When you look at a high level, you literally see, oh, wow, this is a email coming from Google or Gmail, then I should go and click on it. Again, this is very, very bad idea. So one of the great example is 2016 election of United States, if you remember. So one of the Clinton campaign manager or campaign aide, he got an email saying that, John, you need to change your password immediately. And as a good citizen, right, he went to his IT department, and IT department said, yes, please go and do it, because they didn't have the most robust IT team on their side. And the moment he clicked change password, poof, all of the password went, all of the malware got downloaded, and every email, whatever he had on his laptop, was exposed in the WikiLeaks, right? So it impacted an election. Imagine what it could do personally, right? So one phishing email changed the entire course of a major country in the West. Similarly, you will see, oh, PayPal, or again, I use some of the Indian bank example, right? From IDBI, oh, we have this thing, can you click on here because, we want to see your login information. We don't know, who changed your password, your account got locked. Be aware, no company will send you an email to do the things of your account over the email. So you have to be very, very careful on that. And again, somebody sends you some link. Do not click on the link if you don't know anybody. And I get these messages once in a while, right? So you go to this website called check short URL, and that particular website will tell you from where this particular short URL coming up, in reality. And you get these things, right? So this middle screen, this is literally, I did my first session a few weeks back. And before that night, I got this text message on my phone, and they said, "Hey, there is a Wells Fargo, which is one of the bank we have in US. Your account is locked," and I don't have any account with Wells Fargo, right? So it's crazy. These guys are constantly active, and they want to basically get you all the time, right? You can see here, oh, your cloud account has been disabled. Can you click here? The moment you click, you're done. Same thing on Bank of America. So you have to be very careful whenever you are getting these kind of emails, which out of the blue, no action initiated from your side. You have to make sure that you are constantly checking this and being protected all the time. So the next one, so next thing is called doxing. So again, nowadays that is happening a lot. So doxing is the violent internet-based practice of researching and broadcasting private or identifiable information about an individual or an organization in order to harass and traumatize activists from organizing activity, right? So if somebody wants to do that, right, and there are many incidents happening as we speak, right? You just go and look at the troll army happening in US and India, right? They just get some fake information on somebody, right? And there is a thing happening in US. There is one activist, right? And that activist had a lot of their personal Facebook information as open, and they took some of the conversation, the pictures from their Facebook account, and they presented in such a way that they are doing some criminal activity. And it took that particular prominent personality, and I'm not taking their name on the phone on session here, 6 months. That particular personality has to go in hiding for 6 months, and her team took 6 months to clean everything on the website, on the internet, so that she can come back and start her career again in the public domain. So it is very important what you share on the internet. People can use against you. So it's very, very critical that you share minimum, or again, my suggestion is why you have to share anything on the internet, right? So it could lead to harassment, intimidation, disinformation, right? Obviously, you know, like some people are running for offices, right? They can take the information whichever they want and they can expose lies, right? So you have to be very careful against that. And there are websites where, you know, you go and find out these informations where, you know, there is a website called pastebin.com, and you just go and search with that keyword, and you will find out that you will find people's addresses, what their home address, who are their brothers, who are their sisters, where they work, what their phone number. And the reason why all of this information is there, free stuff, because we signed up for free things, and then we give away our address, we give our phone number, we give our email address, and there you go. And one of the example was, you know, in this example, one of the person was a very prominent business owner, and they were able to find out all of their relatives, and you know, there you go. So it's very dangerous, you know, if you're doing that free kind of stuff and signing up. So what can they do with your data, right? So it's not only just using the data to harass you in public, right? Identity fraud. They can impersonate, they can take loan on your name and you have no idea. Calling your employer about your political activities, hacking and locking you out of your accounts, harassing phone calls, publish compromising details about your life, you know, harassing pranks, calling fake police threats, and this I have seen, you know, many nowadays. Those you know, I don't know if you have seen that Netflix serial Jamatra. If you have not, please go and watch it. That is one of the biggest rackets we have in India. And in fact, I was, you know, they called me a few years back, you know, just to try to say that, oh, they're calling from police department and I have to send them a few $1,000s. And the moment they called us, we knew that, you know, it's a phishing call, right? So you have to be very, very careful in that area. There are websites where, you know, again, don't go to these websites. The reason I'm just putting it here, these are the websites where, you know, literally the bidding happens. If somebody wants to do doxing against, they literally, you know, say, okay, I will give you $500. Can you go and dox on this particular person and publish all the data? So it's illegal. It's not allowed, but these are the websites there. Again, do not go to these websites. The reason I gave here is that these are the things, you know, kind of a modern day, you know, robbery happening. But again, you know, I wanted to give you the perspective for, you know, what is out there in this scary internet world. Output from such websites, right? You know, you can hire to output. So how to make sure, you know, get yourself cleaned out, right? How to make sure, you know, all of your emails, the names are not there. So there are companies called data broker. And again, our mentality for all of our South Asians and Desis, right? We don't want to spend on money on these kind of activities, but I highly recommending. And I'm doing this as we speak, in the process of doing this. So there is ways, right, to clean your name, address, personal information from all of these databases. And there are companies where, you know, where you can pay them, you know, on annual basis, and they will go and remove all of your data from all of these databases. And literally, you know, when I did a search, you know, on certain names, we found out that 50 to 60 databases have those names. So there are very in-depth companies like Privacy Duck, where you pay $1,000 and they will go to these 100+ companies and clean all of your information from their databases. And again, if you want to do very high-level cleanup, there is a company called joindeleteme.com. I know it is very expensive, but again, you need to figure out, right, what's the mitigation plan, you know, when somebody hacks you from your digital identity point of view. Secured identity, especially on the social media. Again, I will not go through the details, but basically, you know, make sure most of the times your Facebook profiles are public. Why it has to be public? It should be enclosed to just friends. You should be, you know, just enclosed to your relatives, right? Even for your friends, right? Nowadays we are adding 5,000 friends. Really? Do you really have 5,000 friends? So you have to think twice about, you know, making somebody friend who never met physically, and then even allowing that information with your friends is also very risky, because they are in a true sense not your friend. They just met you on the internet, not physically. So you have to be very careful what you expose on Facebook. Don't expose, you know, like your location, your address, your email, your phone number, especially your birthday. I know everybody wants to, you know, kind of know that today is my birthday, but please don't do that. And things like that, right? So you have to be very, very careful what and how you're exposing your data through Facebook, right? So please make sure that. And again, these are some of the things, you know, where, you know, how people can search you or not, whether they look up by phone or email. So just say no, because you don't want any stranger to find out you're on the Facebook. And I think Facebook is one of the places where easily you can get any data from any person if their Facebook profile is public, and they can know, you know, like people say, oh, I'm eating in this restaurant, you know, follow me, right? They share their location. And again, imagine somebody has a vendetta against you. If they get that data, it's very risky. Similarly, you know, from the Google perspective, you know, make sure, you know, all of your settings are done from the privacy point of view, so that, you know, Google is not tracking a lot of elements. And again, I'll go back to my initial statement. If nothing is free in this world, you know, so if you're getting Google stuff, which means that they are getting some element of your data. When you go to LinkedIn, I know most of us are on LinkedIn, so make sure you edit your public profile. You know, click on make my public profile visible to no one, because most of the hacking nowadays happening, people are going to the public profile and trying to get your data. They will look where you are working and things like that, right? So I know you'll be worried now, saying that, okay, if I don't make my profile public, then how the recruiters will find you? Recruiters have special logins and they can find you anyway. So again, try to control your exposure in LinkedIn. And again, you don't have to expose your LinkedIn data, like, you know, which companies you worked in last 10 years, what was your position. You can even control that exposure as well, going through various settings, right? So make sure, again, you have minimal information shared to the public, and yes, you can have detailed profile of your LinkedIn with you, but don't share publicly. It can be shared. You can apply through LinkedIn to different companies, and the recruiters can see you because they have the recruiter login IDs. So that's the kind of purpose of your LinkedIn. So nowadays people are, you know, also doxing you on LinkedIn to get detailed information from your site. Use virtual phone numbers. And this is again, one of the things which is very, very critical, right? So imagine, you know, you have phone number which comes with your SIM card, and nowadays you can get these virtual phone numbers. So don't give your original number, what you're assigned by your carrier. Just share with your friends, or again, close friends and family members, period. And then if you want to use, provide your phone number when you go to these websites where they, hey, register here, if you want a free book or if you want a free webinar, in that, provide your virtual phone number. So I have like virtual phone number, which I use. Again, you use your virtual phone number on WhatsApp. Why you have to use your original phone number, right? So again, these are the things which you can use and protect yourself, right? There are burner apps where you get 10 virtual numbers and you pay very, very minimal fee. and you can use those virtual phone numbers as you move forward. So there is a very good username search, right? Using this name check to make sure that which usernames are safe to use, right? And these are all the different websites, right, where your names are there. And literally you just go to one and you just put your name and you'll find out all of your information. And these are some of the add-ons, right, which could help you to kind of protect your privacy, so that whatever you're browsing on your laptop or your phone, it can be protected, so nobody can monitor you what you're doing, and things like that. And then my final key takeaway is, right, we have seen many elements of how to secure your identity, how to secure your phone, how to secure your laptop, how to secure your social media presence, how to use VPN, how to use the other element of virtual phone numbers. Use virtual phone numbers wherever possible, right, and keep your original phone number with you. So my takeaway is, when you have your home, right, when you buy a home, working, staying in a flat or wherever, right, you install cameras, or you install locks, you make sure everything is secured, you put the barricade in front of your door, you make sure, right, physically everything is secure, right? But in today's digital world, your digital identity is much more valuable than your physical home. So you have to spend money to make sure you have a plan that you are starting to secure your digital identity with all of those elements which I talked about, and start working on it. And right now, most of us, all of our digital homes are open, and anybody, when I say anybody, hackers, government, the private companies, they can come in, get whatever data they want, and they're literally selling our precious data. So it's very important, we make sure we have a digital security plan for all of ourselves, and we plan accordingly. And so, inshallah, this will help you to, take some, precautionary steps. I know I covered many elements, but you can start with simple things, right? And you go from there. So with that, I'm open for any questions and any other elements.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim sir. So there are a few questions that have been raised by the attendees. The first question is from Mr. Bashir M. How can I secure my blockchain technology startup by cybersecurity hackers?
So
can you hear me?
Yeah. So from which element of security? So if I may ask more, right? So again, I can try to give my perspective, right? So if you're having a startup where you're trying to start up a blockchain element, right? So first of all, secure all your communications. So wherever your communications are going, it has to be on HTTPS, so that all of your communication happening within that framework. Make sure you have all the virtual private networks when your employees are connecting, when you are connecting to your company. I don't know how big it is, but basic elements of having VPN, having the secured communication, it is very important, because in these cases, when you have the startups, right, there is a lot of element of IP getting stolen. So I think those are the couple of things I can recommend. So
thank you so much. Is incognito safe browsing?
I can go back and check, but I think what I heard, it is a safe browsing. But I will go back and check. I have a couple of friends expert in these areas. I can come back. So.
All right. Thank you. So if we switched off our phone and travel anywhere, does Google still capture all our data?
No. If you switched off the phone, then it will not.
All right. Thank you. What about using Find My iPhone for keeping location on always in case of loss or theft?
Oh, sorry, can you repeat that?
What about using Find My iPhone for keeping location on always in case of loss or theft? Is it a good idea?
Yeah, so in case your phone is lost, right, if you have switched off the phone, switched off the location, still the find my phone may not work. But again, do we want to assuming your phone is encrypted, right? And again, do we want to risk of selling all of your data for like nearly $500-600, which is like 70,000-80,000 rupees, right? So do we want to risk your entire digital identity for that? So I know by turning off the location, you will not be able to use the Find My Phone in case you lost your phone. But it's better to lose a phone than to lose your identity.
That's so true. Thank you. Got another question from Mr. Fahim Ahmed. Making update regularly makes Android phone slow. Is that true?
Yes, sometimes it does make slow, but again, I would recommend, doing a restart 1 or 2 times should take it back. What happens most of the times is that all of our phones are always full of disk space, right? And we just try to find the right amount of space to get our updates done. So I would say, if you keep like 20 to 30% of your phone disk, empty, right, then you should not see the slowness.
Okay, thank you. Another question is from Mr. Bashir. When I switch on my phone, will Google capture all my data?
When you switch on your phone,
I think it is connected to the previous question when he asked, if I turn the phone off, then I'm traveling somewhere, will the data be captured by Google? To which the answer was no. Now, this is a follow-up question. When I switch on my phone, will the data get captured by Google?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay, Ms. Shamim Akhtar is asking, what is the latest anti-malware that you can suggest?
Malwarebytes is one of them, and I think depending on which device you have, which operating system you have, there are many anti-malwares are available in the market. But again, the one I know, Malwarebytes is the good one, which I recommend. But on top of that, right, everyone has different devices, different operating systems. So and again, you can go and search, right? You can even shop for these malwares. So and again, do not buy the free malwares. Remember, there is nothing free in this world. Right? Try to buy which has some value. So.
Thank you. Another question from Sabiullah Noor Mohammed. Receiving calls with different country code in midnight, is it a hacking activity or by someone?
It could be possibly. There are 2 things, right? So one is, as I said, right, when you register your phone, right, you go to these many accounts, right, and they ask for phone number, whether it is even like, going to a website, you're buying something or going to some streaming channel, whatever, right? I'm not going to the details, but sometimes, all of your account, user ID, emails, they get hacked. In the sense, if they attack that register company, say you went to some shop and you buy something online, right? And to buy online, you need to provide the phone number. But sometimes the hackers go and hack that particular website, which means that user IDs and email IDs are taken care. So they take that data, they go and sell in the black market to the other companies, and those companies take that data where they know the phone number, and now they're doing this robo marketing calls, right? So in that case, if that happens, which means that either your user account was part of the hacking, where they got your user ID information, or somebody got your phone number, and they are trying to go through this social engineering or phishing calls.
Thank you. How safe is using internet banking applications on Android phone?
So as long as you have the Android phone, and again, I would recommend VPN. You can also install VPN on the phone. So if you install the VPN on the phone, you can do any operations on phone, no issues.
Is there any way to know if your phone is hacked?
The way to know if your phone is hacked, couple of things, right? So things, which are happening automatically. For example, in one of the case, I know that the phone, the phone started and stopped without your initiating the action, unless you have started the action. That is one indicator. The other indicator is your phone number, or your some of your receiving calls are, you're receiving calls from somebody else which you don't know. So there are some symptoms, but again, typically the way you should find out is, go back to your accounts, check your accounts, mobile phone accounts regularly, right? What is happening on that? And if you're seeing some changes there, if somebody's changing your plan without you changing the plan, definitely that is a sign of your phone is hacked.
Thank you. So there's another question which is quite interesting, that he's a guide and constantly used Google Maps because it's part of his service. Is it safe?
Well, which means that Google has all the data where you're going. So, and unfortunately, you cannot go for that unless you are using a paid map app. Then Google will not track that. So that's the reality.
There's a question from Ahmed Samir. What to do with news websites? They keep requesting cookies to allow access.
Reject cookies, because the cookies are the challenge, right? Where they are storing all of the information, even though that website, for example, you go to, you're trying to, just access some, educational material on a website, but they will tell you, hey, you need to accept the cookies and we want to store the cookies. So what happens, the cookies, where the initial intent is to make sure, what page you accessed in the last, right? So that they can configure the personal experience, but at the same time, they are calculating other information as well, like, or storing other information of what you're doing on the internet and things like that. And they take that information, which is not relevant to them, and they sell it to others. So as much as possible, wherever you can, push back on cookies. And again, you can go to the browser and you can set cookies to no, right? So that way, they won't even ask you a question in most of the cases.
Okay, thank you. So this is now the last question for the day from Mr. Fahim Ahmed. Can you please help us with name of few less costly VPN for Android phones?
For Android, I think the ones I have, which I kind of, I know it's like, there is one which is, I think it was Bear Tunnel, which was like $1 or $2 per month, right? Which was like 150 rupees per month, right? And even Viper VPN was like $1 per month, right? Which is like 70 rupees per month. So I think, and again, you need to buy these in a year contract or year or 2 year, right? I would recommend you buy for like, multiple years. So those are the lowest ones we have. Again, do not try to install free VPN. Again, there is no thing called free. So that free VPN will do nothing for you. I can definitely follow up, on getting more cheaper VPN options for Android. But those are the things comes to my mind.
Okay. So thank you so much. These were the only questions that were raised by the participants, and we have alhamdulillah covered all of them. So we'll now be ending this session. So thank you so much, Ibrahim sir, for such an insightful and awesome session. I believe it is a need of an hour, as due to pandemic, not only specific countries, but globally we are moving towards the digital world. So thank you so much for that. And to all the participants, it was fantastic to have you all on board. I hope that every thought that was shared over here, every knowledge that was shared over here has benefited each and every one of you who attended this session. So AMP keeps organizing such sessions by highly qualified professionals and experts in a particular field to share their learnings and viewpoints to guide everyone So we request you all to keep coming for these sessions. We'll keep you updating about our future upcoming web talks and webinars as well. So we'll now be ending this session. Thank you so much for attending. Ibrahim Saab, thank you so much for being a part of this web talk. We'll be looking forward for more such insightful sessions from your end as well in future, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.